What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. Today, we are going to be doing a similar episode as we did last year, 10 fantasy players you should target. And our special guest is back, and we'll show him right after the intro. Let's just get right into it. Let's play the So we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about today. 10 players, plus we're going to talk about what we did last year. But without further ado, let's welcome him back. Logan, welcome back to the Talkin Football podcast. It's great to have you back on.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me again. I know I'm wearing the wrong hat for the occasion, but, got to show my sports love. But, hey, I'm happy to be back. And 10 fantasy players. I think we did pretty good last year, so let's go for a year 2 week.
So before we go into who we have this year, let's just go over who we picked last year. So my 5 players I have Aaron Jones, Terry McLaurin, Zamir White, Devontae Smith, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Zamir White was a massive miss. That was a huge miss there. Total bust. But Aaron Jones wasn't bad. McLaurin was good. I'm looking at my Zamir White was obviously terrible. Devontae Smith was pretty good, and Wan'Dale was good. Your picks, you were very good. Isaiah Pacheco was pretty good until he got hurt. I think that's a good pick there. Rachaad White. Bucky Irving was good. We'll give you credit there. We'll give you credit on that one.
Wasn't expecting that.
Kyle Pitts.
Move on.
Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was good. He was very good, actually. That was a good call there. And Drake London was also very good. He emerged as a true wideout one. So Logan knows what he's talking about. So if you want to come away with this video with something, at least listen to Logan's picks, because he usually knows what he's talking about. This is my fantasy expert right here. You guys also may know him from the Super Bowl live stream where he did the betting segment there. So Logan, welcome back to the pod. And let's get right into it. I'm going to start with my pick. We're going to go – the order is different. Last year we started with Logan's. Now we're going to start with mine. Number 1, George Kittle. Now, you might be watching this and you're like, why are you saying George Kittle? That might be the most obvious pick ever. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And if you guys watch TFP's Top 5, you know that George Kittle is my number 1 tight end. So why is he not an obvious choice here? Well, according to Yahoo, he's actually the 3rd ranked tight end. If I remember right, he's ranked number 30. And behind Bowers and McBride. I think they just changed that today, which I don't get why he's behind McBride. I think Bowers you can argue to a certain extent, but I have Kittle as my number 1 tight end going into this year. And here's why. First off, they don't really have a lot of competition in terms of receiving. Ayuk is still recovering from the ACL. Jennings got hurt, and he wants a new contract, so he might not even play. Ricky Pearsall, he's good, but he's not a real threat. They don't really have a lot of guys that are going to come after George Kittle as a real threat to his production. The only one who I can think of who might take away some targets is CMC, but he gets hurt a lot. He was dealing with the arthritis thing last year. So personally, I like George Kittle as one of the guys you guys should absolutely target. His ADP, according to Fantasy Pros, is 41, which only gives you more reason to go after him. I like George Kittle a lot. I have him as my number 1 target here in this video.
George Kittle was great last year. And, I get he's a great player, but he's so fun. Like, he loves playing football. He loves doing what he does. And that's, I think a big part of why he performs in the field ball. Now, is he going to have the games where he goes 4 catches for 30 yards and no score? He'll have that. Every player has that. But he is a consistent tight end where he'll get you 8 catches for 60 yards or something, or 9 for 80. And if you're lucky, you'll find the end zone and get you in that 20-point margin. Personally, I think George Kittle is the best talented tight end in football right now. I don't think Brock Bowers should be higher than him because who's throwing to him? And Trey McBride is questionable, but George Kittle, definitely target him. I know you have the ADPs right in front of you. I don't, but basically you're saying I think that George Kittle is an obvious tight end 1. Don't take him too early, though. Don't take your tight end too early, but if he's there in like the late 3rd, early 4th, jump on it. Great pick.
I 100% agree with you. I feel like people sometimes reach on the tight end. The tight end is not super valuable, but Kittle, like you said, he's electric. He's really fun to watch out of San Francisco. Not a lot of competition. He's the number 1 choice here. Logan, let's go to your number 1 choice, and I know you love him. Logan, the floor is yours. Tell me why Courtland Sutton is your number 1 choice here.
So Sutton's given me some Drake London vibes from last year. He's not ranked high. Sutton's ranked very low, in my opinion. And I have a lot of people coming up to me saying Sutton's so touchdown dependent. He scored a lot last year, but even without the touchdown, let's just cut his touchdowns by let's take away 5 of his touchdowns. He's still a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
At his peak. Should he be the first receiver you draft? No. But I think that Cortland Sutton has developed a great connection with Bo Nix, who is really, really good, in my opinion. And he's the wide receiver one. You got Sutton as your number one guy. You got Marvin Mims for deep plays. He's not really a short route guy. Mims is the guy who goes deep. You got Evan Ingram, who's there, who I'm not too worried about. I think Sutton is still, because Bo Nix showed he loves Sutton in the red zone, especially. He has great hands, never drops the ball. I value Sutton higher than how Yahoo does. I think he's ranked in the 60s, if I remember correctly.
So right now, I looked at these are also for you guys. These rankings are from August 10th. They are absolutely subject to change. If you're watching this in a week or two, these are probably changed. Sutton right now on Yahoo is ranked at 52, which I think is that's really low in my opinion. And then 49 ADP, so pretty much right around the same range there.
So, yeah, Sutton, definitely target him if you can. I feel like if you get a guy like, Justin Jefferson in the first round or CeeDee Lamb or A.J. Brown, target Sutton as your number 2 guy because then you got a safe and valuable receiver core. So, yeah, definitely go for Sutton in the 4th or 5th or 6th round if you can.
And I 100% agree with you. And the big thing with Sutton is if he's getting a target, he's bringing that ball down. If you get 5 or 6 targets in the game, he's going to get 5 or 6 catches in that same game. And I like his stat line. A good 5 for 70 is really what you need, and Sutton will give that to you. He's very reliable. Bo Nix loves those 15 to 20-yard gains across the middle, and Sutton is his guy for that. Those 12-point games are really going to help you, especially not truly as a wideout one, like you said, but as a wideout 2 or even a flex option. Sutton is just super reliable. I 100% agree with you there. And there really isn't a lot of competition. I mean, Ingram, he's good. I don't know if he's going to 100% fit in that offense. Mims is a deep guy. They have Vele. He's good, but Sutton is the true number 1 there, which makes him a very, very good option there. So Sutton, who is Logan's number 1 target. Let's go back to me now. Let's talk about another wide receiver, this time in the NFC West. Let's talk about my guy, Marvin Harrison Jr. Let me tell you something. I'm an Ohio State fan, but the Ohio State bias is not showing through, I hope. So Yahoo has him ranked 34th, and the ADP, according to Fantasy Pros, is 39. So right around that same fourth round area, which is not bad at all. And the 4th round is based on the 10-man, obviously. Here's the thing about Marvin Harrison, and I haven't talked about my predictions for this season yet, but when you do, and when I do, and you see the NFC West video and you see the Cardinals prediction, you might be like, whoa, what are you talking about here? I love the Cardinals this year. I really, really do. I'm expecting big things from Marvin Harrison. I know we said the exact same thing last year, but this year I really mean it. His feet got a little bit wet. Now he knows what he's doing. And look, we mentioned McBride before. McBride struggled in the red zone last year. He's not a true red zone threat, for being real. James Conner, he's a red zone machine, I guess, but in terms of through the air, MHJ doesn't have a ton of competition in that area. Michael Wilson's not really a guy that's going to take a lot of targets away from him. I expect Marvin to have similar games to Cortland Sutton, maybe slightly better, maybe a couple more catches, maybe 10 to 20 more yards. I think he's going to go right around 6 for 80, 7 for 80, right around-ish per game, maybe with a touchdown. Without the touchdown, it's 14 to 15 points, give or take. With the touchdown, that's 20 to 21 points, which is wide receiver 1 numbers. And given his ADP, if you can get a wideout 1 in the fourth round, that's an absolute steal, in my opinion. So I absolutely have Marvin Harrison as one of my top guys this year.
Yeah, I don't see the Ohio State bias from you. I don't see it. Don't worry. I know you're a fan of Ohio State, but you're also, you're reasonable. Marvin Harrison, I'm not gonna lie, last year disappointed me. I thought he was gonna be a little bit better, but also that's just the thing with these rookies. You're avoiding players. I see now why you put Ashton Genty 1. He's a rookie. You don't know what to expect from him. So Marvin Harrison, he could be a wide receiver 1. He definitely could be. If you go into a draft with the 2 RB strategy, take an RB first round, second round, Marvin Harrison could be there in the early 3rd round, and that's how you could build your receiver core. Now, Kyler Murray is not the tallest, so he's going to struggle to see above the offensive line. But you know what? That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is talent and potential. And Marvin Harrison has that. I think that with a little – and I heard he bulked up a little bit. He gained some weight. He's ready for a year two leap. I am very excited to watch the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison. And like you said, Trey McBride. I think he only scored like 3 touchdowns last year, and his first came in week 14, I think. So, Trey McBride, not as much of a threat as Harrison is. Harrison reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald. So I think that Harrison's going to be a very good, valuable receiver this year.
I 100% agree. And you mentioned the bulk up. He's not skinny anymore. He's not like Devonta Smith. He is a bigger receiver now, added 15 to 20 pounds of muscle onto him. So look out for Marvin Harrison in your drafts. We're going to hand the ball back to Logan. And just like we're going to hand off as if he's like a running back. That's a terrible transition, but we'll work with it. Just take the floor.
No, I like what you did there. And you know what? Chase Brown. Oh my God, do I love Chase Brown this year. What can we just say? What a season, first of all, last year. He really took the Bengals offense. I wouldn't say by storm because you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but he did his job in Cincinnati. He was a great rusher. He was a great receiving back. And I'll tell you, in the semifinals week where Chase Brown scored 2 touchdowns, he is the reason I lost. So it was very, very devastating. So now that's why I have him as my number 2 guy. He has great hands. Joe Burrow loves him in the pass game. He's said it. He's shown it. I think he could push for top 5 RB upside. I get it. You got Saquon, you got Gibbs, you got Bijan. That's a stretch, but he can definitely be an RB1 in fantasy. Again, the 2 wide receiver strategy. You take Jefferson and A.J. Brown maybe in the first 2 rounds if you're lucky. And then you get Chase Brown as your RB1. That's a really good core to start your running backs. Because Chase Brown's safe. You're getting great value from him. And there's not really a lot of competition in the Bengals backfield. I don't think so. Zach Taylor even came out and said Chase Brown, the main goal is to have him be a 3-down back. So, and that's another thing I look for. Yes, he's getting carries, but as long as he can stay on the field, Chase Brown is an RB1 in my eyes.
100%. And the thing is with Chase Brown, too, I'm not a big fan of his rushing upside, but that receiving upside, it's really, really attractive especially as a 3rd-round back. That's really, really good value there. And we see a lot of the time the Bengals offense is very slow to start. I think in the last 5 years, they only have 1 win in the first 2 weeks. And Burrow sometimes struggles to find Chase and sometimes struggles to find Higgins. But if he can kind of develop that relationship with Chase Brown early and often in those couple of weeks where they tend to struggle, that could be big time for fantasy owners. And also, you can draft Chase Brown, and he can be the big time target early on. And Chase and Higgins might not be getting that much volume, but maybe later in the year when Chase and Higgins are getting a lot of targets and Brown isn't so much, maybe you can sell high early on and get more value for him in the middle of the season. That's definitely something that Chase Brown can be used for.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to my running back. I have from the Carolina Panthers, and I was struggling a little bit, I'll be honest. After Kittle and Marvin Harrison, I'm like, there aren't a lot of guys I'm super high on, but if there's someone who I like a little bit more than the others, I would say it's Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, Carolina Panthers running back. And the reason why I'm a little hesitant on him, it's competition because they added Rico Dowdle. They have T-Mac there now, who they just drafted. I'm expecting better things from, and Adam Thielen is always safe for the Panthers for Bryce Young. But here's the thing I like about Chuba Hubbard. He just pounds the rock. He really does. He'll get you 4 or 5 yards a carry. And he's not as great out of the backfield, but look, he is a tank in the red zone. He will get those gritty yards that will get you closer to the 1-yard line, and then Hubbard will just punch it in. Easy money there. Again, he's ranked at 42 on Yahoo, 45 ADP according to Fantasy Pros. So again, it's a pretty similar range there. My biggest concern, though, is he's not a great receiver, and Rico Dowdle is going to take a lot of that away from him. So that's why I'm like, I'm not totally sure, but I will say I just like Chuba Hubbard this year, maybe as a RB2. I think he's a very safe option, just like Chase Brown. He will get you 10 to 15 points a game, which is exactly what you need out of an RB2. So that's why I have Chuba Hubbard here as my number 3 guy to target.
Yeah, that Giants-Panthers game still giving me chills when Chuba Hubbard broke out. That was very fun to watch. And also, I like the Adam Thielen reference. I think School Vikings is going to like that in the comments. But to Chuba Hubbard now. Yes, he was great last year. I think Bryce Young is going to have a really good breakout this year. And I know we're not talking about Bryce Young, but, the quarterback's role in an offense impacts the running back's role. So I think it's worth mentioning. But yeah, I think Chuba Hubbard, I don't think he's going to have much red zone work taken away. I think that Carolina see him as the red zone back. But is Rico Dowdle going to take touches away? Yes, that's just reality. Can't go into a season with one running back. That's just not done. But yeah, I think that Chuba Hubbard, RB2, maybe an RB3. I don't think he's an RB3. I think he's more of an RB2 flex kind of play.
Mm.
He now there are going to be games where he gets 20 carries for 70 yards and maybe one catch for 10. That's about 10 points. That's not bad. But then there's also going to be games where he goes 25 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown. That's 19 points. So you really just got to be careful with Hubbard. He's definitely matchup dependent, I think, because you would really
that's true.
good teams and the bad teams. But I don't think Hubbard's a bad pick at all. I think that if you play your cards right, Hubbard's a good RB2 for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't choose him as an RB1. I don't see that kind of potential. He absolutely could be that kind of guy. I personally don't see it. And speaking of don't see it, I don't know what you see in him this year. I will let you explain it. This is the only quarterback on this list. I don't explain what you see in him. I don't get it. But you know what? You're the expert. Why don't you explain?
Hear me out, all right? Last year sucked. Last year was brutal for Caleb Williams. I mean, yes, he came in with the zesty and the stuff like that. That wasn't the reason he was bad. The Bears coaching staff was horrible. But Ben Johnson is going to be a milestone for Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson, you saw what he did with the Lions last year. He made him a high-powered offense. He made Jared Goff look good. And now, did they fall in the playoffs? Yes, but this isn't the playoffs. This is the regular season. Caleb Williams has shown that he can both throw the ball efficiently when he's on his game, and he can run the ball efficiently when he's on his game. Now, what people tend to do is they tend to, in the third round, when they're stuck, they don't know what to do, and they see a guy like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson available. Oh, panic pick. Let's pick Lamar or Josh Allen. Do not do that. Yes, they're good, but there are some great quarterbacks in the late rounds. Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, even Patrick Mahomes, right? So Caleb Williams, he has the weapons. He's got DeAndre Swift. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Roma Dunze. He's got that rookie. Tell me the name. I forget.
Luther Burden.
He's got the Cole Kmet. He's Colston Loveland. He's got the options. It's all about just putting him in the right situation. And I think that Caleb Williams could push for QB1 upside. Not the overall QB1, but he can. I feel like he's going to be what Bryce Young was last year, like a startable player. So don't think this is like a flashy pick, but it's a pick that'll win you your close games.
And I guess that makes sense because last year their offensive line was just terrible, but they added a lot of new players. Joe Thuney was added, and that's going to make a big difference. They do have good skill positions. I don't know if I am totally believe in Odunze and Luther Burden to carry the load, but then again, they also have Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, like you said. I am not a Caleb Williams guy. I just don't see that kind of potential with him. I feel like DeAndre Swift, I feel like he's going to be a little bit better and maybe a better pick than Caleb Williams, but you might be onto something. And I mean, I said Zamir White was going to be good last year, and I was very, very wrong about that. So Caleb Williams, maybe you guys should target him in your fantasy drafts. And the ADP is not an issue there. Right now, he's ranked right around 100. His ADP is right around 100 as well. And I mean, based on the value, it's 100% there if you need a late quarterback. Because I know some people like to do that. Some people like to wait, maybe go with a Baker or maybe go with Jordan Love. Caleb Williams might be one of those guys, and a lot of people did that last year. They waited for Jaden Daniels later in the round, in the late rounds, and it worked out for a lot of people. So maybe Caleb Williams is the guy you look for in those late rounds. We're going to move on to another rookie, another Ohio State receiver, and I know it might seem a little, but you know what? Look, I love Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka gives me good vibes in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they have a lot of stuff going on right there. Baker has been exceptional down there. Mike Evans has been consistent as always, but after that, it's a little dry. I'm not a big Bucky Irving person. People really like him. I'm not on that train. I think he's a good player. I'm not a guy that's going to say, let's draft Bucky Irving in the second round. I'm not that kind of guy. I like him. I don't know. I know he's a good RB1, but I don't know if he's going to be enough to carry the load in terms of the passing game. Rachaad White doesn't really get a lot of playing time. Cade Otton he's all right. But in terms of the receivers, other than Mike Evans, Godwin's coming back from an ACL. Jalen McMillan is good. He's serviceable. I mean, he's like a bye-week wide receiver starter, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
I think Emeka Egbuka can be a really solid flex option. A lot of things need to go his way. But look, he has been great so far in training camp and in the preseason. He's playing like an absolute dog. I really like Egbuka. And a big thing about this, it's the value. Ranked 89 on Yahoo. ADP is 116. That's what I really like about Egbuka. That ADP is very attractive. Having an ADP that low with a very high upside rookie, considering how well he's been playing and how many snaps he should be getting, I really like Egbuka as a late round bench filler.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Godwin definitely hurt me last year. I was in first place. I fell to seventh because Chris Godwin went down. It was rough. He's not going to come back to full strength right away. So Egbuka's, I'm obviously not as big of a college football guy as you are, but from what I hear, he is NFL ready. He can make plays when you need him to. Baker Mayfield is very good at connecting with guys because he doesn't always target Mike Evans. Like, you don't always see the Mike Evans takeover games like that at that level. He's older. You got to get some of the younger guys involved. And Egbuka is a guy who I'm very excited to watch. And I think with a little bit of development and if everything goes right in Tampa Bay, Egbuka can find his role and enjoy a hopeful breakout season year one.
I 100% agree. I really think that with a good target share, he absolutely has a good chance to be a guy. Like I said, like Wan'Dale Robinson last year, Emeka Egbuka can be one of those guys who can maybe slowly find his way into your starting lineup. We're going to move on to another receiver, AFC North on the Cleveland Browns. Logan, tell us about Jerry Jeudy.
Judy is a nice name, Dilbert. I don't know. Some of you will get that reference. I use it all the time. Jerry Jeudy. Who else is Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco? Who else are they going to look at? They got that guy Tillman. I don't know. David Njoku will be used in the red zone, but Judy's the guy. He was great last year down the stretch. He was phenomenal. So I think that Jeudy, and again, there's, Brown's got an interesting quarterback room. I don't know which direction they're going to go for week one, but I don't even think it matters. Like, if Jeudy can perform with a guy like Jameis Winston throwing to him, I think Jeudy can perform with any of those quarterbacks. So, yes, I think he's the number one receiver. Is he the number one option? Probably not, because, David Njoku's a big body. He catches everything his way. But I think Jeudy can push for wide receiver 2 value, maybe wide receiver 3, depending on the quarterback play. But, I think that Jerry Jeudy is a safe pick this year.
And I think you mentioned a good point with the QB situation. Shedeur Sanders, as much as I really wish he didn't play well, and I don't mean it like in a bad way. I'm just saying I thought that he wasn't going to be that great. He played very well. He looked like a safe, good option at quarterback for the Browns. Maybe he can sneak his way into QB1. I think right now it's Joe Flacco, and Flacco, he'll take his shots. He's old. He doesn't really care anymore. He'll chuck it, especially with the Browns don't have super high expectations. I think that's why Jameis Winston worked, because he was heaving it. He did not care. He will heave it downfield. That's why Jeudy had that amazing game against Denver last season. I think depending on who's at quarterback, if it's a guy like, in my opinion, if it's Flacco or if it's Sanders, I think that Jeudy is a good option. If it's Gabriel, Pickett, Huntley, those guys I would stay away from personally. I would say Jeudy is not the greatest choice, but again, another good point. He's the true wideout one on that team, and Njoku and Jeudy are honestly the only real options. They don't really have a good running back there. I mean, Judkins is under domestic violence. They're looking at that right now. Jerome Ford doesn't really move me. Like, I would say that Jeudy is and in terms of looking at just depth chart, Jeudy is a great pick there and a very safe one.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's go. Last 2 picks are again receivers. I'm going to go to the NFC West, and I'm going to be talking about Cooper Kupp. And the hate that Cooper Kupp is getting on the rankings makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. How is a guy like Cooper Kupp, who is, look, I know that the 2021 season was a while ago, and I get that, but he was great last year. He really was. In the time that he played, him and Puka were great. Great in 1-2. Now he's going to Seattle, and yes, I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, and I said in my video, stay away from Kenneth Walker. I did say that, but I didn't say stay away from JSN. I didn't say stay away from Cooper Kupp. I think that Kupp can be a serious contender for like a really maybe like a flex option. He's ranked at 120 on Yahoo, which I don't get at all. It makes no sense to me. Fantasy Pros though is ADP is 86, so he is going earlier than what his ranking actually is. But if I'm just saying, if you're in a league with a bunch of people, maybe you're with your classmates or maybe with like people you work with, look at Cooper Kupp. He is so low. There are going to be so many people that are going to be drafting someone else because it's ranked ranked 90 or whatever. You're going to see someone going Cam Scatabo at 103 when they already have 5 or 6 running backs. Go after a guy like Cooper Kupp because they're going to be drafting based on the ranks. Be a smart person, listen to the Talkin Football podcast, and go after Cooper Kupp because I genuinely think he's going to have a good year. I don't get why he's being disrespected.
I think now I could be wrong, but I think the reason Cooper Kupp's low is because one, Sam Darnold, we don't know what to expect. He was great in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one option, but also his play style, right? He is a guy who would run across the middle, get you a catch, and get 10 extra yards maybe. That's sort of what we saw with JSN last year. And JSN's not the biggest body, so Cooper Kupp might have to take some longer routes, like he might not be that short route guy he was anymore. And I remember when he was like the number 3 ranked player, but he is going way back. It kind of makes me sad for Cooper Kupp because I love him as a player. So I think the only reason why that he's ranked so low is because of his play style. JSN and Cooper Kupp. You can't have 2 slot receivers on the same team performing at the same time. Maybe there's a play where JSN goes a little bit deeper than Kupp. Maybe there's a play where Kupp goes deeper than JSN. So I think if that issue goes away, I think that Cooper Kupp can be a wide receiver too. He's got that potential, but at the start of the season, chill with him in a flex. Don't put him too high.
But again, I'm not a Sam Darnold guy, but I really think that Kupp can really perform this year. And you make an interesting point there, the 2 slot receivers, but I think Kupp can absolutely play on the outside. I think JSN can too. He is a little bit smaller, but we saw him at Ohio State and early on in his NFL career. JSN's gotten up for jump balls, and I think that's an area that he's definitely improved in significantly over the last few years, both in college and in the NFL. But again, we'll see with Cooper Kupp. He's definitely a late round gem in my opinion. Let's go to the last pick of the day, Logan going to the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, this one is super controversial. And I'm going to explain why. Patrick Mahomes is not who he used to be. In terms of winning, he's the same person. He loves to win. In terms of taking deep shots, he's a different person. He lost Tyreek Hill. He still got Travis Kelce. He still got his little safety blanket for the 5-yard completions. But he lost Tyreek Hill. And when he lost Tyreek Hill, we saw that he was not willing to go deep. He was very scared to go deep. He didn't think he had the receivers to do it. However, Xavier Worthy is looking like he's pushing Mahomes to go deep. Like whenever he thinks he's open and Mahomes doesn't see him, he always says, "Get me the ball. I am open. I will catch it." Act like I'm Tyreek Hill. He is fast. He's got good hands too. Like it's not like he's just a speedy guy. Like he's got good hands. He can run deep and catch the ball. I think it's all about Mahomes. If Mahomes uses Worthy the way he wants to be used, wide receiver 2, maybe even a flex, or he will be a flex, but wide receiver 2 flex, who knows? But it's all up to Mahomes. He wants to use Worthy the way, and he didn't even run the ball. We've seen him on the ground. He's like a Tyreek Hill. He's literally Tyreek Hill. Mahomes just has to see that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm staying away from a lot of Chiefs this year because, and I said stay away from Ashley Rice. Xavier Worthy I feel like is an asterisk there because he has been so consistent, or he was consistent, I would say. Not as much early on in the season, but near the end, he was getting consistent targets. This Chiefs offense has changed the way they move. They are not deep shots anymore, like you said. They are RPOs, they are screenplays. That's all they are. But when you mix screens with speed, and especially Worthy speed, that's going to make for a lot of success. The offensive line is a little bit worse than it was last season, but I still think there's a lot there with Worthy. And there's so many Chiefs that are really low on the board. Worthy, Pacheco. I think Kelsey's low, personally. I know he regressed heavily last season, but I feel like him being as low as he is a little bit unreasonable. Mahomes is low too. But look, You want an option with very, very high upside, but will get you those 12, 13 points you need as a flex. More of these your guy, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's how we're going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Logan, thank you so much for coming on, my fantasy expert. As you guys know, you definitely have him back on the pod at some point. Hopefully these picks helped you out. And that's how we're going to end this episode. This is Talkin' Football, and that's what I got to say about that.